Hey, as a creative person, it's easy to start a new project, but it's really hard to finish it. I think most people will never know the feeling of truly creating something from start to finish. And a lot of people might not even realize that they failed to ever finish anything in their whole life. I used to be very bad at finishing things, so today I'm going to go over 5 rules that will help you get projects over the line, out of the gate, off your plate, and into the world. This is Squares TV App Lab number 116, where I show you how to use the tools I've created to look better on video. I'm Michael Forrest and I make Video Pencil, Shoot and QCam Presenter. So let's start with some updates. First, how is it in Edinburgh? Let's go over to Michael.
It's cold, but it's nice.
Thanks, Michael. Now for some Video Pencil updates. So, I actually shipped something today. It came out this morning. New update. It's got recording has been fixed. It was broken in iOS 26 after the last update. Something, a subtle bug that it silently was failing for me, and then it was like crashing when you tried to save the recording. That's fixed now. Hello, John from Monterey. A new feature that I mentioned last week is you can now select no camera in Video Pencil, so you don't have to have a camera feed. You could just be queuing up your coaching videos and doing it in a locker room and just like not have to worry about the camera, which doesn't really make sense in that environment, and also in many teaching environments. And as part of that, I've added the ability to add a custom background, so you can put your branding, your gym logo or whatever up there. I had someone on Discord said they'd sort of forgotten to save a recording. Hi, Story in You. How are you? Is that Max? No, Story in You. Does it say over here? Yeah, it looks like Max. So auto save. So now, like it used to, when you recorded something in Video Pencil, it then had a step where you had to like export it or save it, but now it just saves it to photos automatically. So which I don't know why I didn't do that in the first place. And then also as part of that, I did add in another screen where if there's any temporary files, you can get those back. Including, it's quite interesting because you can find anytime you did an action replay, like that sits in there. So that's kind of interesting. So just to show you that, here's the iPad, hopefully. Are we sharing the iPad? Oh, no, it's not plugged in. I unplugged it to charge the pencil. Let's see if QCam can handle the iPad being connected, or if I have to go backwards and forwards. This is all these transitions. I'm looking forward to... here we go. This looks like it's going to work. Okay, so... it's doing the picture-in-picture, it's doing a blank background. This is all stuff that's going to be fixed with the new QCam. But yeah, so what we can do is using QCam, but we can just set it to no camera, and now it's got like this placeholder background. And you can just go into here, you can go set background, and you can just find something in your photo library. Hopefully we don't find it's just loads of pictures of a baby in a bath. I had say your gym has this logo, so now you can have this up on the TV in the room, and then when you sort of like load in a video of, some training like this, you can do that like this, and you can draw through, and you can use your little shuttle wheel. Okay, first do this, and then grab the thing here, and then he did this, and then close the video, and then that just goes back to the background. Hey, Philip. Ooh, are you hearing that, or is it just me? It might just be me. And then just the other thing is under settings, we've got recover recordings, and that's got like a little export button. You can see some stuff I've been working on, but that's another little thing I've been fiddling about with. I wanted to have like the ability to like save out an animated transparent drawing as an animation, but it's kind of working for very short drawings, but then it kind of like breaks. Oh, you're hearing static. Okay. QCam. Okay, how's this? Are we still getting static? But that's happening in the stream, is it? Okay, how do we get rid of this? Where's it coming from? I didn't know if it was just my headphones. Should we try just... So it's not the microphone. I don't think it's the microphone. Well, it will be. Do I have to disconnect and come back? I'm going to disconnect and come back. Sorry, guys. Okay, sorry about that. It was. Oh, that. We fixed it. I could still hear it in my headphones. So obviously, I think I had like a work in progress iPad capture thing. That I think that's what was going on there. I think it was. I think I had some stuff. I think I had a half finished iPad feed coming in. Right. So that's fun. But yeah, that's what that all looks like on the iPad. So that's all the updates to Video Pencil. Uh, and let's keep going on to the. So yeah, and then I think one of the reasons I chose the subject this week, I'm going off script now because I thought I should probably sort of say why I'm doing one on. One thing is I've been thinking how like it's all very well talking about the technology all the time, but actually I think a lot of the blocks that we have are to do with motivation and confidence and like all that kind of thing that goes around speaking in public and creating things and putting them out there. The big challenge I'm facing at the moment is getting the beta from beta to production, and it's just reminding me how hard that stage of finishing something really is, especially if it's a really ambitious thing. That's why I'm talking about finishing things today, just to try and remind myself, like these are the rules I should remember, and hopefully, to help you. So let's go on to that. To that other thing, which I believe I have forgotten to switch. I forgot to switch the. I forgot to switch the. I forgot to switch the jump to link, so it went to last week's. How to finish things. So finishing things is hard. As you get closer to the end of a project, everything slows down. Tiny things take forever, and what started out as an exciting prospect can become a millstone around your neck. I had to look up like what's around your neck, an albatross, and I was like a millstone, and I was like, oh, I live near a few millstones, so like here's a local millstone that's kind of around the corner from me. John, you'll have seen that when you're in Dean Village, but yeah. That's just not the sort of thing you want around your neck, is it? So I've got a few techniques, rules, beliefs that have helped me finish dozens of ambitious projects over the years. So hopefully this will give you some new tools to get your projects over the line, out of the gate, off your plate, into the world. I used that twice. So the way I'm framing this today is my last full album, which is now recorded 10 years ago. So I've been dragging my feet on music recordings in the last few years. It's been busy starting a business. That's been 6 years. So it's been hard to find a week or two to work on an album. But you've seen, I've got the gear. Sometime it may happen. But this was my last full album, How to Live Forever. And it started exciting. So I basically wrote and recorded all the tracks in 7 days. So I had this natural deadline. I was moving out of my Berlin studio flat to London the next week, and I sort of couldn't do anything else. And I had my music gear. So that's what I did. And to make the project more manageable, I gave myself 2 requirements. For each song, I was just like, I've just got to do these 2 things in each track. That's all it's, and then just whatever else happens. So it was like a build up and a drop, and then just a sort of moment of musical contrast and a joke. I just wanted some little tongue-in-cheek element in each song. And so here's me. This is my little studio. Me in 2015, I had my mixer, I got my Mac, I got like a keyboard, I got my stage piano down there, I've got some other stuff to the side, my microphone. So yeah, that was me in my little studio flat. And then this was me kind of by the end of it. So it was an intense week, but I think the first rule of even finishing that first stage is don't let it balloon out of control by having an over ambitious scope. So it needs to feel small. drop and a joke. That's all I need to worry about. It needs to feel small because it's only going to get bigger over time. And definitely the same for software, definitely the same for like a course or a YouTube video. You need to come up with something that seems almost stupidly small because it only gets, as you drill into it, it only gets bigger and you only discover more and more things that add complications. So I think it's really important to start off with a small idea. And it is very rare for something to turn out to actually be easier than you thought it was going to be. So this is like rule one, start small, right? So the plan with that album was to sort of record it quickly and then pay an established producer to complete it so I could learn what I could sound like in more professional hands. I wanted to give myself that sort of artist development experience that used to be offered by record labels, where up and coming artists would be paired with seasoned professionals to create the best possible recordings, which they don't do anymore. They just kind of expect you to come with the whole lot, right? But this meant I didn't need to spend a lot of time on the first stage of production because I knew I'd have help later. And then before I found a producer, I wanted to get some good vocal recordings. So I had a vocal coach at the time. So we recorded those in the garden shed studio. That should probably be another rule. Get help if you can, but I'm not even talking about that. Because I found a producer who had David Bowie as one of his past collaborators. So I had high expectations. So I brought him everything I'd recorded, committed to an eye-wateringly high price, but I just come back to London. I'd landed a new app development contract, and I had this other thing from Hong Kong still going. So I thought, I can cover it, and it was just really important to me. So it's the most I've ever spent on anything. Really, was just this producer, and I'd wanted to kind of see what it feels like if you have had that support from a professional thing. But yeah, I started getting these mixes back. I did not like them. Like vocals had been tuned to the wrong melodies, like cheesy synths had been added. Now that I could hear my vocals sounding correct, I started to have reservations about the lyrics, song structures, instrumentation. I started talking to a string arranger and another singer thinking I need to re-record everything. I need to add a load of stuff. This is not what I want it to be, right? And track one is called Get Connected, and that was the ultimate exercise in restraint for me in the end. The bass line repeats identically, right? Twice, before anything else happens. And, the more I listen to it as months go by, this just became torture. And I just wanted to start layering and adding subversions and twists and turns just into those first 8 bars. But I kept reminding myself, when you first recorded this in the moment, it worked. So just leave it alone. So eventually, after adding I did add a couple of little pre-chorus flourishes to the track and beefed up the chorus vocals, and it got to the point where I was like, I think this works. I think this is good, and we've got 1 of 10 tracks. Wait, you recorded your songs in a week and then hired David Bowie's producer? That's bold. Well, something like that. It turned out he was once produced him live. So I can hear my baby screaming outside the window. He's coming back. He's clearly, luckily we've got voice isolation, so you can't hear it. So my second rule is perfectionism, which is what was happening when I was I've got to redo it, I've got to find other people, I've got to redo a string chord, all those steps where you're finding things that have to be done to make it perfect. That's procrastination, right? That's just a way of procrastinating and putting off the inevitable, putting off finishing it. If you try to make something perfect, at a certain point you're just wasting time and just putting it off. You're not going to get it done. There's no such thing as perfect. There is only the best you can reasonably achieve in the given circumstances, right? That's it. That's the best you can do. There's literally nothing can be perfect. Do you know what's weird? The YouTube, the browser chat is now working worse than the QCam integrated chat for some reason. I can't see Philip's comment in the one, but I can in QCam. So I took my own advice and I accepted good enough, and it turned out actually that people really liked that first track. I will play it at the end of the stream. After I released the album, my gym got wind. I emailed my address book with this thing once it was finished, right? Once it's finished, you're hey, everybody, you can start to really do that. But my gym, and I ended up emailing it to my gym that I joined recently, and they started they had this really loud sound system, and they used to play it over the sound system with, it's just me singing kind of without much backing. thing. So yeesh, that was quite embarrassing. But I guess they thought it was all right. I don't think they would have played it if they did think it was terrible. But anyway, but back to the story. While all this was going on, I was having a weird time with that contract that I mentioned. They weren't paying me very reliably, and there was an unusual amount of sort of disconnect between invoicing, and there was an agency in between, and they had like a money like company working, and then that was, there was a lot of indirection there, and it was a bit weird. And then one Wednesday morning, I came into the office in Piccadilly Circus in the middle of London, and there was some grumbling that the permanent employees hadn't been paid. And then that afternoon, the CEO told us to grab all our stuff and just get out of the office and just do a runner, because they hadn't paid their rent for 2 months, and the company went into administration, leaving all of its employees and like contractors unpaid. And basically, I'd worked a solid 2 really unpleasant, really intense, technically difficult months with some difficult people. And that was supposed to cover like my rent and this producer's cost. And that was just like gone, right? So this just like out of nowhere, like, honestly, like I could say so much about this guy that was this seat. But like at the end of the day, I signed this weird contract that was you get paid when paid contract, and I've never had any trouble with that. But in this case, like because I'd signed that thing, I didn't have much of a leg to stand on because the agency couldn't pay me until they'd been paid, and they weren't getting paid. So it was like this whole thing. And then the CEO, went on to be on Celebrity Big Brother. No, Celebrity Big Brother. Who was like a sort of semi-famous, like C-list celebrity guy, had this like basically the central London office was all a show, and it was it was a bit of a scam in the end. But anyway, I could have given up right there. Right, this was like a very unexpected event. So, I didn't know if I'd be able to finish the project. I didn't think I'd be able to pay the engineer, the studio guy anymore, the producer. Now that it just made it feel a bit frivolous. And I could have made my excuses and just given up there and then. But I didn't give up. I just slowed down the project to give myself time to find a new contract, build my coffers back up, pay back some loans. And, so I got a bit less responsive over email, but I didn't mention anything about the situation to the producer, and just like, late is better than never, right? So that was kind of like rule 3 of things. If you just stop, if you give up, that's it. If you find an excuse to stop, then you're not going to finish it. So just don't stop. No excuses. That's rule 3. So as you approach the end of the project, the problems get smaller and smaller, but the missteps or the mistakes can have larger and larger consequences. So I think the way that you manage things to start with, so like really fast and loose in that case, like I'm talking about software as well and all the other stuff I make, but like in terms of music, like get something like collaborating with this producer, like getting a mix, getting a recording, listening back to it, sending back an email with adjustments, sort of like stopped being adequate anymore. It like worked for the early stages, but when you're trying to really get it over the line, it doesn't work as well. So, a year or so later, I had, I actually just went into the studio and sat next to him, and we just like spent a couple of days just going over every little tiny thing that we wanted to get. But like, yeah, so a year or so later, I had final mixes that, if I didn't overthink it too much, were a fair representation of what I'd originally imagined. And it was a pretty exhausting process. And I try not to be, all this time, I'm trying not to be like a nightmare client, because I know what that feels like as someone that, as a contractor, when someone just keeps coming back and, like you kind of want to be trusted a little bit. And I kept reminding myself that the experiment was to see what could eventually come out of something that was just 1 week in the first place. It didn't actually need to be anything bigger than that. And that's another thing. Like the longer a project takes, the bigger it becomes in your mind. And you can sort of lose sight of that original vision, which was, if I just put in an intense week and then get some help, can I get something that people will like? Hi, Groove Card. How are you? Groovy Card. So yeah, that's it. That's all it needed to be. Sorry, I just got a Discord message, which I don't know what it is. But like that was actually like, so I had the recordings, but that was only the first step. I needed art, I needed marketing, I needed everything else it takes to release an album. And so I'm going to just talk a bit, because this, like, it wasn't finished because the artwork wasn't finished, right? Like the recording was finished, but I didn't have like a record yet. So, there was an artist that I'd been trying to get to like do some artwork for this album. I'd done some stuff with him before, and he said he loved the album, but as the months went on after that, like I just realized I probably wasn't going to get anything from him. It wasn't going to be a priority, so I had to make something myself, and um, I just had to I had to um, we've gone out of order a bit. I had to get the artwork done. Do you know what? I've just realised I skipped over some stuff. So so I'm going to tell you like actually like that I'm going to go into. I'm actually going to follow the script because the more granular you get with those changes, the more perspective you lose, the more the little problems you notice. It becomes a process of knowing when to ignore yourself, to override your instincts, to force yourself to stop. If you don't stop, you risk overproducing the song. You start to remove its humanity, and you end up with a bland recording that has no flaws, which contains no vulnerability, no points of humanity over which your audience could connect. Everything can feel like a mistake when you're at that really granular level. And you have to change your criteria from how shall I fix this problem to is this really a problem? And you just have to finish the thing without ruining it in the process. And eventually your checklist, and this is where I am with QCAM Beta at the moment, like the checklist keeps getting longer, but eventually all those little things on the checklist and you just try to keep them in your head and you can't anymore. You just have to like keep writing them down and just keep crossing them off and just working through it one thing at a time. And soon the list will start getting shorter faster than it grows and you'll almost be at the finish line and you will have nearly completed step 4, which is rule 4 is to finish the thing, right? Is to just finish the thing. Like this is like get the checklist, go through it and just you have to finish it. And it might take an extra 100% of the time to finish it, but it just you can't finish the thing without finishing the thing, right? Just finish it. Like that's all I can say. So yes, I moved some stuff around in the script, but yeah, because now you have to deal with this is I've got 5 steps, and this is the last one. Now you have to deal with a huge emotional barrier, which most people will never get past, I don't think, because completing a project is difficult because you have to embrace death, right? Not literally, usually, but you have to embrace the death of possibility. So before a thing is finished, it could still be anything. Like it could still be every earnest or whimsical thing that you wish it could be, right? It could have any artwork, it could have any name, any structure, any number of components, any number of collaborators, just any form. Like it's infinity, right? While you're working on the project, it has all this infinite potential, but when you finish it, it becomes just one thing in the world, a small thing in the world that it's hard to get anyone to care about. And the moment that you decide that it's finished, every aspect, every other thing it could ever have been dies. It's gone, right? So in order to say something's finished, the reason it's so hard is because you've got to like this cloud of infinite possibilities. You have to let it go and just let it be the one thing that it is. And that, I think, no one tells you. No one tells you that, but it's an embrace of death, right? Like it's, how do you know you're finished? You know you're finished when you start to mourn the loss of what the thing could have been, right? You know you're finished when you cry. And the longer it's been hanging over you, the more you cry. And like the only way to take the edge off is to remember that like this is not the last thing you'll ever make, and you can now pick up your next project without any guilt and know that this last one is now done. You still have to show it to people and just face that soul-crushing void of public apathy, but it's a different story. That's something we can talk about. And so just to go back to the artwork, I knew I'd finished How to Live Forever, not when the recordings were finished, but when I finished the artwork. And because I'd tried a load of different ideas, loads of techniques before landing on the final concept. It's a bit awkward, but like I got it looking okay, good enough. And when I said that's good enough, like it was such like it was that's kind of when I realized that this is a moment of death, and it's kind of like this when I was all those things it could have been. It's not any of those things. It's just this stupid little thing that I've made, right? um Philip says that's so true. With the excitement of finishing comes some kind of grief, and I say to people, like, there is no better feeling in this world than finishing something. Like, you cannot beat that feeling of finishing something. That millstone is like finally off your neck, and those tears can be incredibly cathartic. So, once the weight's gone, you can like walk upright again instead of being like stooped under that weight of failure and self-doubt that's there. You've made something, it now exists in the world. It didn't exist before, but you made it, and now it does, right? And that's great. You want people to like it, you want people to love it, you want people to love you because of it, but that's not the reason to finish it. You finish it so you can move forwards to the next thing and the next thing, and then after that, right? And so that's rule 5 of finishing things. Just, you've got to embrace death. The death of possibility, the death of what it could have been. You've just got to like accept that it is what it is. Grieve, denial, bargaining, acceptance, anger, depression. Yeah, that's the wrong order. Try and end with acceptance. And so that's my 5 rules for finishing things. Start small. Perfectionism is procrastination. Don't stop. No excuses. Finish it and embrace death. So that is where we are. And now, because I didn't set the right jump, I've got to go and manually go back to my other deck. You can find us and yourselves on Discord, squares.tv/Discord. Maybe even get some help. I haven't checked how many people are on there recently, but it's a few hundred. It's not bad for a weird little community that we are. Kind of want to see. It's. I guess you have to click on the thing, and it shows you like when you click on the server info. I don't know. Strange. Anyway, so that's there. So thank you for that. Thank you for coming and joining me today. And to play us out, I think I shall. Oh God, it's gone to. What's happened there? It has gone to. We will come back here and go. I'm just going to play the song. By the way, I guess you guys kind of already know the score, the people I recognize on here. But yeah, I'm just gonna play the song, the first track of that album. Just, I thought it'd be good to play. It's the little sort of, you could almost call it a lyric video. There's loads of work that went into this animation. It's actually like a animation system, but I only really took one render from it. But this is the song. There's a version of this up on YouTube, but it's all kind of like post-processed with some reverb to make it sound like. But I put the original audio on, so you can just hear what kind of came out of that producer's work and my work, of course. So here we are. This is Get Connected, and thank you so much for watching. And like and subscribe and all that nonsense. And I'll see you next time. Wanna go